The ancient Greeks believed that the abyss of Tartarus lies as far below hell as heaven is above earth. Would you like to see it? Well, you say yes, but let's make sure you know what you're getting into. Do you hate having eyes? Do you hate yourself? Do you wish to see the madness seared into the brains of those who looked into the Elder Scrolls too long and too greedily? If you answered yes, yes, and duh, then you're ready to log on to the Japanese internet. I'm going to take you on a tour of my frustrations towards the Japanese internet over the past 3 years of using it. Because there are times when a website is so bad, even the Buddha would be losing his temper. You'd think that some of these came out of H.P. Lovecraft's Necronomicon, and they well might have, as I haven't finished it yet. I've certainly seen things that would make Cthulhu puke. It's probably going to be visually and spiritually depressing to only show you content focusing on digital delirium, so I'll be interspersing footage of nice things I found around Kyoto to reduce the psychic damage this video is going to inflict upon you. Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of reasonable Japanese websites that don't try to rip out your eyes through your arse. There's plenty of nice modern web design going around that you can point out and say, see, that one's not so bad, they know what negative space is. I have two responses to this. The first is that the internet is an iceberg. There's a lot more going on in the shadowy depths below, often in the form of outdated municipal websites from prefectures you've never heard of. The second is that there are swathes of Japanese websites being updated or even built right now that are committing these frustrating acts of design. It seems impossible to comprehend that the same culture of aesthetics and design that created wabi-sabi is also responsible for this. It's especially jarring as someone who lives in Kyoto, the old capital of Japan, where I can see UNESCO World Heritage Sites or Master Craftsmen whenever I want. Anyway, let's kick off with Chapter 1, My Hanko Shopping Nightmare. A few months ago I was attempting to buy a hanko, which is a custom seal people use in Japan in a similar manner to a signature. There are lots of different types. Some are used for decorative reasons, and some have legal or official purposes. Being extremely business savvy, I'm subscribed to the Dragon's Den YouTube channel, I decided to shop around online for a good deal. Every single site was, without exception, totally packed to the gills with information. Reams and reams of this stuff. It's impenetrable. Bear in mind that I'm also seeing this through the filter of being a foreign speaker, so it looks even more confusing to me than it would to a native, but good lord. Look at this! Look at all the different types! Look at all the information! This is bewildering. Who designed this? Is this made for humans? And they're all like this. That's the real gut punch here. This is not just one errant web designer who hates the world. This is the standard. You know how I mentioned negative space earlier? This is why. Check out the art website I used to buy painting materials. Same deal. You actually see this all the time with sales adverts and shopping leaflets. Here's a couple I picked up the other day at the supermarket. Look how small that text is. The only way to read it is with a magnifying glass, like an old-timey Victorian detective.
I think it's juice.
It's the same with the fridge magnets I get in the post from local plumbing businesses. I don't even need glasses, and I'm struggling here. Now, supposedly Japanese people prefer to have more information available up front when making purchasing decisions. But my question is, at what rate are they able to scan through these dense thickets of text? Chapter 2. My struggle with outdated websites. And then there are the museum websites. I would regularly encounter these when trying to research Japanese art topics for university reports, and they were never a letdown. It's ironic because some of these websites look so old they probably belong in museums themselves. You know what, change of plan. Let's go on a trip somewhere instead of a must-see museum. This is the site for Gyoja Goya, a place offering accommodation for climbers of Mount Fuji. Now about 300,000 people reach the summit per year, so you'd think they'd attempt to harness that market with a functioning website. Okay, I think I'm ready to find out more. Jesus Christ. Is that... Yeah, it is. I mean, this whole thing is just utterly dysfunctional. This is a digital Chernobyl. And in case anyone thinks that this is a no longer updated website from the past, please check the sticker for the 2022 Ice Candy Festival. This is recent. Never mind, maybe I'll have an adventure in an MMORPG instead. Here we go. Okay. This is looking a little archaic. Is this? Yep, it is. All right, in we go. Jesus, there is so much going on. I hate this. Would it help if I told you that Yahoo remains unbelievably popular in Japan? That really ought to be an indication that something's gone haywire along the line. Some of these sites are like the kind of thing you find when you type in any noun followed by .com into the search bar. Toilets.com, for example, turned up an interesting little find. And oh, looks like this one's on me. This is, of course, evidence that this kind of thing is not only happening in Japan, but the frequency with which I encounter this level of quality on the Japanese internet is unsettlingly high. Let me be clear, I don't think that the super minimalist style of web design that is now so common in the West is massively superior. There are times when it's better, and there are times when it's... How did the AVGN put it when he reviewed the Power Glove? Sucks monkey fuck? Who isn't fed up with these generic corporate websites that hide all of their functionality behind 4 vague buttons on the homepage, adorned with soulless geometric humans? In fact, with some of these companies, I actually prefer the Japanese style because it presents you with more information more directly, compared to these giant image blocks that are obviously aimed at appealing to mobile users specifically. I definitely think the quality of websites in Japan has been improving overall, especially when it comes to large companies. But there's definitely a certain faction that, much like the mysterious force that prevents fax machines from falling out of favour in Japan, forces the country to maintain one foot firmly placed in the shadow realm of web design. One critical issue is surprisingly basic: font. There are thousands upon thousands of kanji characters in Japanese that need to be taken into account when creating a new font. Even if you only do the most commonly used ones, it's a gigantic task compared to the size of the character sets in fonts utilizing a Roman alphabet. In fact, Japanese type designer Akira Kobayashi stated in an interview the following: "A set of proper Japanese fonts requires approximately 7,000 characters and takes a couple of years to complete by an entire team of skilled designers." Good gravy. Japanese web designers have gotten around this in the past by simply inserting text as an image on the websites, therefore circumventing the need to craft a whole new font. But in practice, I found this to be an ugly and crude solution. Here's a site I've been searching for properties on recently. These ugly headings are all images, because there's no text-based solution for this right now. And if there's kanji you don't understand, good luck copying and pasting it into a translator. Chapter 3. Digital illiteracy in the bureaucracy. Perhaps it's wrong to be surprised at these issues. There are numerous news stories lamenting the technological incompetence of the old patriarchs who run Japan. A famous example was the 68-year-old cybersecurity minister who admitted to a committee that he had never used a computer in his life. And he was put in charge of cyber defense for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. It beggars belief. He was later asked about USB drives, and you're going to be very shocked by this. He didn't appear to know what those are. So you end up in a situation where we've got robots in this country delivering people's dinner, but the blokes in charge might not even know what a website is. Then we have that story about how a worker in Amagasaki got drunk in a restaurant one evening after work, passed out in the street, and woke up to find he had lost a USB stick containing the personal details of the entire city's 500,000 strong population. Bank details, addresses, social security information, etc. You have to wonder how on earth that could happen, and what safeguards are in place to protect digital assets. And that's one of the frustrations of living and working here. There are sensible rules, methods and procedures that really ought to be implemented, but they simply aren't due to the attitude of, that's not how we do things. Usually down to the old men in charge who don't understand it, so why should they implement it? I don't want to paint with a broad brush here, and progress is always being made in this country. I just think there are too many unnecessary roadblocks. If you take issue with that, please fax me your response. Still, the recently appointed digital minister is Kono Taro, who actually seems to have a clue and a sense of humour about these things. I wish him every success, and he's going to need it. After all, this is the nation that threw its digital eggs into the basket that is Internet Explorer, and then panicked when Microsoft put it down like the sick and putrid dog that it is. Good riddance to bad rubbish, I say. Maybe there will be a pot of gold at the end of this rainbow after all. And we'll find it in the hoverpod. Yeah, I found this website by chance during the making of this video, and I thought it was too good not to share. If you want to get a head start on your Christmas shopping, guys, this is the place to go. Well, that's enough of that depressing drivel. As a reward for gobbling up today's slop like a good little piggy, here's an old battery vending machine that I found in the run-down neighbourhood near me. It's going to feature in my next video about the unpublicised areas of Kyoto. But until then, thank you, good night.